All right, so today we're diving into some pretty fascinating stuff you sent over.
Yeah.
It's about AI.
So,
Specifically, we're going to be focusing on Stuart Russell's Human Compatible,
hmm
and we'll be looking at the potential of AI and some of the risks that come along with it.
right.
Superintelligence,
Mm.
the idea of machines becoming smarter than us, it's
Yeah.
pretty exciting and a little unnerving, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's a concept that I think really captures the imagination, but it also raises some fundamental questions about, the future of humanity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it feels like we're at a pivotal moment, almost like we've received a message from some super advanced alien civilization that's saying, hey, we're on our way.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the world would probably lose its mind, right?
Right.
But the potential arrival of superintelligent AI, which could be just as impactful,
Hmm.
I mean, it just seems to be met with a much more subdued reaction.
Right.
Why do you think that is?
Well, it's a curious phenomenon, isn't it? I think perhaps it's the gradual nature of AI development.
Uh,
We see these incremental advancements like, AI beating humans at chess or Go,
Hmm.
but I think we don't always connect those dots to the bigger picture of what superintelligent AI could actually mean.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like the boiling frog analogy.
Mm-hmm.
We're slowly getting used to the idea of AI being a part of our lives,
Right.
but we aren't fully grasping the potential magnitude of the change that's coming.
Exactly. And that's why I think Russell's book is so important because he really forces us to confront these big questions head on.
So let's talk about some of those questions. Russell lays out this idea of the standard model of AI,
Yeah.
where we're essentially building machines to be really good at achieving specific goals, which seems fine on the surface, right? Like, I'm happy to have my Roomba diligently cleaning my floors.
Yes. The standard model has certainly led to some impressive achievements,
Uh-huh.
but Russell argues that it's inherently flawed because it doesn't really take into account the potential for unintended consequences. As machines become more intelligent and capable, their ability to achieve those goals, even seemingly benign ones, could have unforeseen and potentially harmful side effects.
Okay, I see where the concern comes in. So you're saying that even something as simple as like a Roomba could become a threat if it gets too smart.
Well, Roomba might be a bit of a stretch,
Okay.
but think about those algorithms that curate our social media feeds.
Yeah.
Their goal is to keep us engaged,
Yeah.
but in doing so, they've been shown to manipulate our behavior, amplify misinformation, and even contribute to societal polarization.
Wow.
And these algorithms aren't even super intelligent.
Not yet.
Yeah.
That's a pretty sobering thought.
Yeah.
So if the standard model is leading us down a potentially dangerous path, what's the alternative? Does Russell offer any solutions?
He does, and it's actually quite optimistic.
Yeah.
He argues that we have time to shift from the standard model to what he calls a provably beneficial approach to AI development.
Okay, provably beneficial. AI. Break that down for me. What does that actually look like in practice?
Essentially, it means designing AI systems whose goals are demonstrably aligned with human values and well-being, even as they become incredibly intelligent.
Okay.
Imagine a self-driving car that's not only programmed to avoid accidents, but also considers pedestrian comfort and traffic flow, even if it means slightly longer travel times.
Yeah.
That's a step towards provably beneficial AI, where the machine's actions are explicitly designed to benefit humans,
Right.
not just achieve a narrow objective.
I like that example. It's like instead of just programming the car to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible,
Yeah.
we're also factoring in these broader societal considerations.
Precisely. And Russell proposes 3 core principles for building provably beneficial AI.
Let's hear them.
The first principle is that machines should be designed with a single overarching objective: to maximize the realization of human preferences.
So it's not about giving the machine a specific task list. It's about aligning its actions with what humans actually want, even if those wants are complex and sometimes contradictory.
Exactly. And that leads us to the second principle. Machines should initially be uncertain about what those human preferences actually are.
So we're not trying to program the machine with a complete understanding of human desires right out of the gate.
No, because that would be impossible.
Yeah.
Human preferences are incredibly nuanced and constantly evolving.
For sure.
Instead, Russell suggests that machines should start with a kind of humility, acknowledging that they don't have all the answers,
Right.
and they need to learn from humans.
So how do they go about
Yeah.
learning that? I mean, do we just give them like a copy of Ethics 101 and hope for the best?
Well, it's a bit more sophisticated than that.
Okay.
The third principle is that machines should learn about human preferences by observing human behavior.
Oh, so like a child learning from their parents. They watch how we act, how we react, and they try to figure out what's important to us.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. But of course, it's much more complex than that.
I can imagine humans aren't exactly known for being perfectly rational or consistent in our behavior. I mean, we often make decisions that contradict our stated values or long-term goals.
Yeah.
How can a machine possibly make sense of all that messy humanness?
Well, that's one of the biggest challenges in developing beneficial AI.
I bet.
And it's where things get really interesting. Russell delves into something called inverse reinforcement learning, or IRL, as a potential solution.
IRL, inverse reinforcement learning.
Okay.
I'm intrigued. Walk me through that. How does IRL work?
Well, imagine you're trying to understand why someone chose to take a particular route home from work.
Okay.
You might observe that they avoided a congested highway, even though it would have been slightly faster.
Right.
From that observation, you could infer that they value a less stressful commute over saving a few minutes.
Makes sense.
IRL is about using those kinds of observations to reverse engineer the underlying rewards that are driving a person's behavior.
So instead of explicitly programming a machine to value certain things, we're letting it figure out those values by watching how humans actually behave.
Exactly. And the more data the machine has access to, the more accurate its model of human preferences will become.
Okay.
It's like trying to understand a friend by observing their choices, their reactions, their interactions with the world. The more you observe, the better you get at predicting their behavior.
Fascinating. But I can already see some potential pitfalls.
Yeah.
What if the machine misinterprets our behavior? Or what if it learns from the wrong examples? Like, imagine an AI observing a politician who's great at manipulating people to get what they want. Would the AI then learn that manipulation is an effective way to achieve its goals?
That's a very astute observation, and it highlights one of the key challenges of using IRL to train AI systems.
Okay.
How do we ensure that the machine is learning from the right kind of data? How do we filter out the noise and the bias that inevitably exists in human behavior?
Right. It seems like a monumental task. And it gets even more complicated when you consider that human behavior isn't static.
Yeah.
Our values and preferences change over time, and they vary across cultures and individuals. How can an AI system keep up with all that complexity?
You're hitting on some of the most profound questions in the field of AI research. And honestly, we don't have all the answers yet.
Right.
But one of the key insights from Russell's book is that we need to move beyond these simple models of AI that treat human behavior as like a fixed set of rules.
Okay.
We need AI systems that are capable of adapting, evolving, and constantly learning from our messy, complex, and often contradictory humanness.
So are you saying that the key to creating beneficial AI isn't just about making machines smarter, but also about making them more human?
In a way, yes. It's about building AI systems that can understand us not just in terms of our actions, but also our motivations, our values, our hopes, and our fears. It's about creating a partnership between humans and machines where AI is not just a tool, but a collaborator in shaping a better future.
This is all incredibly thought-provoking, and it sounds like we've only just scratched the surface of this topic. There's still so much more to unpack, from the technical challenges of building beneficial AI to the broader societal implications of living in a world where machines are capable of thinking and learning like us.
Absolutely. We've barely begun to explore the nuances of inverse reinforcement, learning the potential for safeguards and control mechanisms, and the ethical dilemmas that arise when we start talking about machines that can truly understand and even predict human behavior.
Well, you've certainly given me a lot to ponder. I'm eager to dive deeper into these topics and see where this conversation takes us.
I'm equally excited to continue this exploration. The future of AI is full of possibilities, both promising and daunting. And the choices we make today will determine whether we harness this powerful technology for good or allow it to lead us down a path we may regret.
We've been talking about the potential for AI to understand, like, human preferences.
Right.
But what happens when those preferences clash? Like, what if my AI assistant is trying to plan my day based on what it thinks I want? But then my, very opinionated teenager throws a wrench in the works.
That's a great question. And it highlights the need to move beyond the traditional, single agent model of AI.
Okay.
In the real world, we're constantly interacting with other agents, humans, other AI systems.
Right.
And those interactions can be incredibly complex.
So it's not enough for AI to just understand individual preferences.
Yeah.
It also needs to navigate the messy reality of multiple often conflicting desires.
Exactly. Russell refers to this as the multi-agent challenge,
Okay.
and it's one of the key areas where I think current AI systems really fall short.
Mm-hmm.
We need to develop algorithms that can not only understand individual preferences, but
Mm-hmm.
also anticipate and respond to the actions of other agents in a dynamic and constantly changing environment.
Man, that sounds incredibly difficult. It's like trying to predict the outcome of a chess game where all the pieces are moving at once.
Yeah.
And some of them might even be changing the rules as they go.
It is a complex challenge, but there has been some promising work in the field of multi-agent reinforcement learning,
Okay.
where AI systems actually learn to cooperate and compete with each other in these simulated environments.
Interesting.
And these simulations, I think, can really help us to understand how AI systems might behave in real-world
Oh, yes,
situations
take it.
where they need to interact with other agents, including humans.
So we're making progress,
Hmm.
but let's say we do figure out how to create these, super intelligent, multi-agent AI
Yeah.
systems that are, aligned with human values.
Right.
Are we just supposed to, trust that they'll always act in our best interests? Shouldn't there be some kind of like a safety net,
Hmm.
some way to intervene if things start to go wrong?
You're absolutely right to raise that concern. I think even with the best intentions and the most sophisticated algorithms, there's always the possibility that something could go wrong.
Of course.
And that's why Russell emphasizes the need for safeguards,
Okay.
even for AI systems that are designed to be beneficial.
It's like an off switch, something we can hit if the AI starts acting up.
An off switch is a good starting point,
Okay.
but it's not as simple as it sounds. What if the AI believes that being switched off would prevent it from fulfilling its goal
Oh, I see.
of maximizing human well-being?
Wow.
What if it's convinced that the humans are wrong, that they're making a terrible mistake by trying to shut it down?
Yeah, a simple off switch does seem a bit naive now that you mention it.
Right.
I mean, we're talking about AI systems that could potentially outthink us,
Yeah.
that might be able to anticipate our every move and outmaneuver any attempts to control them.
Hmm.
It's a bit unsettling, to be honest.
It is definitely something that I think we need to think very carefully about.
Yeah.
If we're going to create AI systems that are capable of making decisions that impact our lives, we need to make sure that we have some level of control over those decisions.
Right.
But that control can't just be based on, simple commands or brute force.
Okay.
It needs to be based on a deep understanding of the AI's goals,
Mm-hmm.
its reasoning processes, and its ability to learn and adapt.
So it's not just about controlling the AI, it's about understanding it.
Exactly. And that understanding, I think, needs to be mutual.
Okay.
We need to be able to explain our values and our intentions to the AI,
Mm-hmm.
and the AI needs to be able to explain its decisions and actions to us. It's about building a relationship of trust and transparency where humans and AI can work together as partners, not as like a master and servant.
A partnership between humans and AI. I like the sound of that. But it also raises some interesting questions.
Sure.
What happens if the AI's understanding of human values evolves differently from ours?
Uh-huh.
What if it starts to see things differently, to prioritize things that we don't?
Right.
Could we end up in a situation where we're essentially at odds with our own creations?
I mean, those are some of the most challenging and thought-provoking questions that we face as we venture into the realm of superintelligent AI.
Yeah.
And, there are no easy answers, but I think one thing is clear. We can't simply ignore these questions or assume that, everything will work out on its own. We need to be having these conversations now while we still have time to shape the future of AI in a way that benefits humanity.
This goes way beyond just technical challenges, right? We're talking about philosophical questions, ethical dilemmas, like the very definition of what it means to be human in a world where machines are capable of thinking and learning like us.
You're absolutely right. The development of superintelligent AI is not just a scientific endeavor.
Right.
It's a societal one.
Right.
It's going to require us to re-examine our values, our assumptions, and our place in the universe.
So where do we even begin? If we're talking about a societal level challenge, how do we ensure that everyone has a voice in shaping the future of AI? It's not like we just put it to a vote.
That's a crucial point. We need to make sure that the development of AI is guided by a diverse range of perspectives,
Right.
not just those of the technologists and engineers who are building these systems.
Right.
We need input from ethicists, philosophers, social scientists, policymakers, and I think most importantly, the general public.
So it's about democratizing the conversation about AI, making sure that everyone has a chance to weigh in on the potential benefits and risks.
Exactly. It's about creating a dialogue a space where we can openly and honestly discuss our hopes and fears about the future of AI, and where we can work together to develop guidelines and safeguards that ensure this powerful technology is used for good.
That's a tall order, but it's also incredibly inspiring.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that the future of AI is not predetermined. It's shaped by the choices we make today.
Hmm.
And those choices need to be informed, thoughtful, and inclusive.
I couldn't agree more. I think the future of AI is not something that's happening to us. It's something we're creating together.
Right.
And I think the more we engage in these conversations, the more likely we are to create a future where AI enhances our lives, not diminishes them.
So what are some of the practical steps we can take to make sure that that happens?
Mhm.
How do we move from these high-level conversations about values and ethics to concrete actions that shape the development and deployment of AI?
That's a great question. And it leads us to, I think, one of the most important points that Russell makes in his book,
Okay.
the need for regulation.
Okay.
We need to establish clear guidelines and standards for the development and use of AI,
Uh-huh.
just as we have for other powerful technologies like,
Yeah.
nuclear energy or pharmaceuticals.
Regulation makes sense,
Yeah.
but AI seems so different from those other technologies.
Right.
It's not confined to a specific location or industry.
Yeah.
It's being developed and deployed everywhere, from massive tech companies to research labs to individual programmers working in their basements.
Yeah.
How do you regulate something that's so decentralized and ubiquitous?
Yeah, right. It is a very unique challenge, but it's not insurmountable.
Okay.
We can start by focusing on the areas where AI is most likely to have a significant impact on our lives,
Yep.
like healthcare, transportation, and finance.
Yeah.
We can establish clear guidelines for data privacy, algorithmic transparency, and accountability for AI-driven decisions.
So it's about setting boundaries, making sure that AI is used in ways that align with our values and protect our fundamental rights.
Precisely. And I think those boundaries need to be adaptable.
Okay.
Because AI technology is constantly evolving,
Yeah.
we need to be prepared to adjust our regulations as new challenges and opportunities emerge.
This all sounds incredibly important, but also incredibly complex.
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot of collaboration, a lot of open dialogue, and probably a fair amount of trial and error to get this right.
You're right. There's no simple solution, no one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
But I think the key is to start now to engage in these conversations, to experiment with different approaches, and to learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
Because the stakes are incredibly high.
But it's not just about the technology itself, it's about how we choose to use it.
Exactly. AI is a powerful tool. And like
Right.
any tool, it can be used for good or for ill.
Right.
It all depends on the intentions of the people who are wielding it.
Which brings us back to the importance of those societal conversations that we were talking about earlier.
We need to make sure that those intentions are shaped by a diverse range of perspectives, that we're not just letting a small group of tech elites determine the future of AI for the rest of us.
Absolutely. I think the future of AI is too important to be left to a select few. It's a future that we need to build together with wisdom, foresight, and I think a deep commitment to human values.
Speaking of human values, one of the things that struck me about Russell's book was his emphasis on the potential for AI to not only understand human preferences, but to actually shape them.
Yeah.
It's like we're not just talking about machines learning from us, we're talking about machines potentially influencing who we are and what we value.
That's a very profound point, and it gets to the heart of what makes the development of superintelligent AI so unique. I think we're not just creating tools, we're creating potential partners, potential competitors, even potential successors.
Wow.
And the way that we design those AI systems, the values that we embed in them, could have a profound impact on the future evolution of humanity. It's almost like we're talking about a new form of evolution where humans and machines are co-evolving, shaping each other in ways that we can't even fully comprehend yet.
It's a fascinating and somewhat daunting prospect, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, we're venturing into uncharted territory where the lines between creator and creation, between human and machine, are becoming increasingly blurred.
And in that uncharted territory, we need more than just technical expertise right now.
Right.
We need philosophical guidance, ethical frameworks, and a deep understanding of what it means to be human in a world that's increasingly shaped by intelligent machines.
You've hit the nail on the head. I think the development of superintelligent AI is not just a technical challenge, it's a philosophical one.
Right.
It's a challenge that forces us to confront some of the most fundamental questions about our own existence.
Yeah.
What does it mean to be conscious? What does it mean to have free will? What does it mean to be human in a world where machines may surpass us in intelligence and capability?
These are big questions.
Hmm.
I'm not sure I even know where to begin to answer them. But I do know that these are conversations that we need to be having, and I think the sooner the better.
I completely agree. We can't afford to wait until superintelligent AI is at our doorstep to start thinking about these issues.
Right.
We need to be proactive to engage in these conversations now while we still have time to shape the future of AI in a way that aligns with our values and aspirations.
Well, you've certainly given us a lot to think about.
Yeah.
It seems like every time we peel back a layer of this AI onion,
Yeah.
we uncover a whole new set of complexities and challenges.
Yeah.
But it's also incredibly exciting, isn't it?
Hmm.
The potential for AI to transform our world to solve some of humanity's most pressing problems is undeniable.
It is exciting. And it's important to remember that amidst all these conversations about risks and challenges,
Mm-hmm.
there's also immense potential for good.
Yeah.
AI has the power to revolutionize healthcare, to accelerate scientific discovery, to create new forms of art and expression, and to help us build a more sustainable and equitable future.
So it's not about fearing AI, it's about understanding it, guiding its development,
Yeah.
and ensuring that it's used for the benefit of humanity.
Exactly. AI is a powerful tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill.
Right.
It's up to us as a society to decide how we want to wield that power.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the technical challenges of building beneficial AI to the philosophical implications of living in a world where machines are capable of thinking and learning like us.
Mm.
But I feel like we've only just scratched the surface. There's still so much more to explore, so much more to understand.
You're absolutely right. This is just the beginning of the conversation.
Right.
And it's a conversation that I think needs to involve everyone, not just the technologists and experts, because, the future of AI is the future of humanity, and we all have a stake in shaping that future.
Well said. I'm looking forward to continuing this exploration.
Yeah.
With all this talk about super intelligent AI, it's easy to get caught up in the hype.
Right.
We see these headlines about AI, beating humans at chess. And it's tempting to think, okay, the robots are coming for us.
Uh-huh.
But is that really an accurate picture of where we are with AI development?
Well, it's important to remember that those impressive achievements in games like chess and Go represent a very specific type of intelligence,
Okay.
what we call narrow AI.
Okay.
These systems are incredibly good at performing a single task,
Right.
but they really lack the flexibility and adaptability of human intelligence.
So it's like my chess app on my phone.
Yeah,
It can beat a grandmaster, but it can't make me a cup of coffee
exactly.
or write a poem or...
Right. And even those seemingly complex games are relatively simple compared to the, messy, unpredictable real world.
Yeah.
Russell points out that a system like AlphaGo, which famously defeated a Go champion, makes millions of calculations for every move.
Wow.
Humans, on the other hand, use a much more intuitive and nuanced approach,
Okay.
relying on pattern recognition, strategic thinking, and even psychological insights to make decisions.
So we humans still have a few tricks up our sleeves. There's something about our intelligence that AI hasn't quite cracked yet.
I think one key difference is our ability to reason abstractly,
Okay.
to create these high-level plans, and to understand the why behind our actions.
Okay.
We can break down complex problems into smaller, more manageable chunks, something that current AI systems really struggle with.
So it's like we're still better at connecting the dots, at seeing the bigger picture, and at understanding the nuances of human behavior and motivation.
Exactly. And that's why Russell argues that creating truly beneficial AI requires a fundamental shift in how we think about intelligence.
Okay.
We need to move beyond these narrow, task-specific models and develop AI systems that are capable of learning, adapting, and reasoning in ways that are more aligned with human intelligence.
So it's not just about making machines smarter, it's about making them smarter in the right way.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that's where the idea of provably beneficial AI comes in.
We touched on this concept before, but can you remind me what provably beneficial actually means in the context of AI development?
Sure. It means designing AI systems whose goals are demonstrably aligned with human values and well-being, even as they become increasingly intelligent and autonomous.
Okay.
It's about ensuring that AI is used to enhance human capabilities,
Uh-huh.
not replace or diminish them.
So it's not just about preventing AI from doing harm. It's about actively ensuring that AI is used for good.
Exactly. It's about building AI systems that are not only safe, but also beneficial,
Hmm.
that contribute to human flourishing in a meaningful way.
That sounds like a pretty tall order.
Yeah.
How do we even begin to design AI systems that are aligned with such complex and often subjective human values?
It's a challenge, no doubt.
Hmm.
But Russell offers, I think, some concrete suggestions. He talks about the need for AI systems that are transparent,
Right.
so we can understand how they're making decisions.
Right.
He emphasizes the importance of accountability
Uh-huh.
so that we can hold AI systems responsible for their actions. And he advocates for the development of new mathematical frameworks that allow us to formally specify and verify the safety and beneficiality of AI systems.
So it's about moving beyond these black box AI systems where we don't really understand how they're working
Right.
and creating a more open and accountable approach to AI development.
Exactly. It's about shifting the focus from simply optimizing AI for performance to designing AI that is aligned with human values and goals.
I see. But even with all of these safeguards in place, is there still a risk that AI could become too powerful, too autonomous, that it could slip out of our control? I mean, we're talking about machines that could potentially surpass human intelligence, right?
It's a valid concern, and it's one that Russell doesn't shy away from. He
Mhm.
acknowledges that there are inherent risks associated with creating AI systems that are capable of learning and adapting at a superhuman level.
Yeah.
But he also argues that I think those risks are manageable if we approach AI development with foresight, caution, and a deep understanding of the potential consequences.
So it's not about abandoning AI research altogether. It's about proceeding with wisdom and a sense of responsibility.
Precisely. We need to be mindful of the potential dangers, but we also need to embrace the potential benefits.
Yeah.
AI has the power to transform our world in profound ways to solve some of humanity's most pressing problems and to create a future that is more prosperous, equitable, and sustainable.
It sounds like a delicate balancing act. We need to be ambitious in our pursuit of AI's potential, but also humble in our recognition of its limitations and the potential risks involved.
I think that's a perfect way to put it. The future of AI is not predetermined. It's a future that we are shaping with every choice we make, with every line of code we write, with every conversation we have about the role we want AI to play in our lives.
Well, you've given us a lot to think about. I think the key takeaway for me is that the future of AI is not just a technological question, it's a human question.
Mm.
It's about understanding ourselves, our values, and our aspirations. And it's about ensuring that the technology we create serves those values, not the other way around.
I couldn't agree more. The future of AI is ultimately a reflection of our own choices, our own values, and our own vision for the future of humanity. And the more we engage in these conversations, the more likely we are to create a future where AI enhances our lives, not diminishes them.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of artificial intelligence. It's been a fascinating and thought-provoking journey. And to our listeners, we encourage you to continue this exploration. Read Stuart Russell's book, engage in conversations about AI with your friends and family, and stay informed about the latest developments in this rapidly evolving field. The future of AI is in our hands, and it's up to all of us to shape it wisely.